Welcome back, everybody. It's Latin's Fight Picks. Today we will do the recap for UFC Fight Night in St. Louis on Lewis versus Nascimento. So we will go over what went right, what went wrong. We'll go over the board. This is unusual for me to get this out on Sunday, but I had some free time and I thought this would be amazing. So normally people get their recaps out immediately, and this is the first for me. I've never done it on a Sunday. I've never done it this quick, so it feels kind of good because everything's kind of fresh in your head. So let's start. Let's do this. Most confident Lewis. And you know what? Lewis was playing with his food. It was just playing around, and he tried to do this grappling, and he was trying to wrestle, and no matter how much Nascimento had him where he wanted him, Lewis was never in danger. It was just too easy. It was just too easy. And then eventually he decided, okay, well, let's go back to what his coach said, the bread and butter, which is just go for the KO, stay on the feet, throw some bombs, and knock this guy out. In the third round, it took him out. It was really easy, actually. And then I think Lewis was just trying to show off that he's been working on some wrestling. It didn't really work out for him, though, because it seemed like he put himself in a clinch position, put himself in a position to be taken down, and then put himself in a position, just to get tripped and just be on the bottom. And again, he couldn't get finished. He wasn't even close to being finished. The ground strikes weren't that great. He could defend most of them. Most confident pick. This guy, this was so easy. I mean, even him losing those first two rounds still looked like it was easy for him. Moving on, Waters. He was a confident pick, but you know what? Hats off to Goff. I know this guy's tough, but there were so many other wrinkles to this game. It was a close fight, even though he, won all three rounds. It was actually a pretty close fight, and Goff had his moments. And if Waters did not have such a good chin, it could have been a totally different outcome. I think Goff, if he fights a lot of other people, he's gonna win. And this Waters has a fantastic chin. So looking forward to these guys moving on up and fighting the next guys. I really like both of them. Alberg, I mean, self-explanatory. What was it, 17 seconds or something like that? He knocked out Minifield, and Minifield's a pretty tough guy, but Alberg very accurate with the striking, and Minifield started throwing big looping punches and trying to get him out of there, and Alberg was a sniper. Easy fight, very confident in that. Ribovics, again, 30 seconds. It was going to be a finish by somebody. First round, of course, McKinney's very dangerous, and he went out, and he knows, he wasn't going to hold back. It was in his hometown. He wasn't going to hold back. He was going to go for the KO. That's his best path to victory. I've seen him kind of slow down and kind of wear guys down, and I don't think really that's his thing, especially with a high-level fighter. His only chance is to go all out, but he got caught with a beautiful head kick, and man, he got KO'd straight up. Ribovics looked very dangerous and much improved, even though he was a very good fighter already. Borishev, oh man, this ruined like my 8-fight parlay up to Ricci. I had an 8-fight parlay and it ruined this. So it was just where it was. I mean, if I had him on a lower confidence scale, it wouldn't have been so affected. But I mean, for the first 30 seconds, 40 seconds, Borishev looked good, and he got on the inside. He landed great combinations, but like his corner said, he didn't respect Hooper's power, and he just stood there and he took it. And I don't think he respected it. And once Hooper got on top of him, he dominated him and controlled him on the ground. He can't get up. Borishev had fantastic defensive jiu-jitsu, and he had great sweeps, but Hooper is just such a high-level guy. He just floated on top of him. It must have been so disheartening to get so many opportunities to get up, and Hooper just to find a way to position himself and keep it down. But he didn't give up, and in the next round, Hooper ended up taking him down, which was not the best thing, because obviously he showed that he could not get up, and Hooper had him in a close submission. But it was a bad stoppage. Like I had posted on that on Twitter. It was a bad stoppage. Everyone's like, oh, the guy was getting killed. He was getting beat up. You know what? He was losing the fight. He was on the ground. he was absorbing some strikes, not fight-ending strikes. Yes, strikes that gave him like whatever that contusion was, like a little bubble on his head. He was bleeding a little bit, but he didn't absorb a lot of big strikes. He absorbed a lot of small strikes, and he was blocking a lot of them, and he was taking very few really fight-ending strikes. Hardly any fight-ending. A few hard but not fight-ending strikes. It looked a lot worse than it was. He was still very much present. He wasn't taking a lot of big damage, and he was more in danger of the submission. But he was fighting through it, and when he reached over and he hit the guy's body, I mean, it wasn't a tap. It was obvious, and for them not to even review it was not good. And I posted about that, and people were coming back. I go, no one's arguing that it wasn't not a tap. It wasn't a tap, straight up. No one can argue that that was a tap. The ref made a mistake, and he called it a tap, but no one can see that and say it was a tap. Nobody was saying that. So I thought it was a bad stoppage, and it's not that he wasn't losing, but he's a striker. His only path to victory is to KO this guy. And that's exactly what he needed. He needed to get through the round and get up on his feet, start of the third round, and go for it. I mean, he's got a puncher's chance. He's knocked people out before. Hooper's been knocked out. And in the first 30 seconds of the fight, he was actually handling Hooper pretty good. He only got taken down in a second. He could have easily adjusted that and not been taken down. Who knows what happened? But it was a bad stoppage, no review. I had money on him, so it sucked. But it was the fact that it was a bad stoppage. Yes, it was a bad stoppage because they didn't stop it because of damage, and there was not that much damage. Not serious damage. It was a lot of cuts and swelling, I mean, look what happened to Rebeski. They never stopped it. His eyes, he couldn't even see out of his eye. Never mind that, so it was nowhere near it. So nobody can say it was damaged because Rebeski was taking more damage. And it wasn't stopped. Anyways, bad stoppage. They should have reviewed it. It would have been great if it was called it a no contest, but or continued it, whichever one. But anyways, didn't work out. Johnson, I like the way Johnson looks. Hadley fought a good fight. He did nothing wrong. Just Johnson did what Johnson can do. Only he started earlier, and he was, I don't know if he won the first round. He probably lost it, but it was very close. So he had upped his tempo for sure. And then of course he took over in the second and third round. I don't know. He's found a better way to fight. He's always been talented, but he's always starting off slow. And I think, just his corner to motivate him to keep the volume up and start sooner made a big difference. This is the first underdog on his board. It was great. Buckley, Buckley looked great, and I like Ruziboyev, and Buckley looked fantastic. Was faster. I mean, he looked like a little kid compared to this guy. This guy was huge. He's like almost 6'6". He was so much bigger. He was so massive in there, and the Buckley figured out a way to get in, and a few times he did get caught with a knee and whatever else to come in, and he was tough enough to absorb it and follow through and run the guy through and take him down. Buckley did great. He looked really good. Looking forward to see him fight again. Ruziboyev, I'm looking forward to see him fight again. I think he fights anybody else but Buckley, he's going to give a lot of people problems. He gave Buckley problems, but eventually Buckley managed to break him down. But that's also got mind you, he does gas. But mind you, he gasses. Now he's at 170. I mean, I'd imagine that wasn't better. It was probably the gassing gets worse. Moving on, Ricci, split decision. It was such a close fight. It could have gone either way. I was cheering for Ricci, of course, because I picked her. I thought she won the fight just because of sheer presence and control time, and especially in the second round. Tisha got a few shots off at the end of the round, and Ricci was controlling her and trying to get her down and controlling her up against the fence for 4 minutes. So I think that's pretty much where it was. So yeah, Ricci won. It was a good fight. They're very, very evenly matched. Looking forward to seeing Ricci again. I mean, who's not looking forward to seeing Richie again? Especially at the weigh-ins. Aldrich, you know, originally I had picked Hardy. And after looking at the tape and I saw her being the underdog, and I thought this was going to be such a close fight that I think Aldrich could actually do it, and I was going to go for the underdog. But there was a few, like I had made some fights and some combinations of parlays, and Hardy was actually in it. So, but this is before I did the tape, and I did the tape, and I thought, you know what, I think Aldrich can pull this off. And to her credit, the first round could have gone either way. That was the swing round. Nobody knew who won that round. I think the first half of it, I think Aldrich was doing really well, standing your ground, throwing out the jab. And then end of the round, I think, honestly, Hardy probably landed like 2 punches at the end of the round that might have taken it. But I mean, again, recency bias for the judges, because Aldrich was doing pretty good at the beginning. That's probably where it went both ways. You know, the second round, it was Hardy. Third round, obviously, it was Aldrich. Aldrich, you know, even stung her. Flashed. You know, she stung her and hit her really hard, and she almost fell down and had her controlled and had her on the ground. Aldrich turned it up. She clearly won and dominated the third round. And that's kind of what I was expecting to see a little sooner, but I guess you just have to get to Hardy and wear her down. Sometimes Aldrich, she's a little lazy. And it's the first round. And the fight ended up being 29-28. But that first round could have probably gone either way. And it went to Hardy. But it was a close fight. It wasn't a bad call. I was expecting it to be a close fight. Caceres, another underdog. You know what? I put down when I watched the fight the first time. I said, bullshit. Woodson lost. I actually think there's an argument to be made for Caceres to win that, and I couldn't believe one of the judges gave it 30-27 to Woodson. That just goes to show sometimes the biasness of the judges. 30-27. Come on, at the third round, you saw Caceres chasing around and damaging Woodson and outstriking him like a huge. I can't remember the margin, and he didn't even give Caceres that round. I think the first round obviously went to Woodson. Woodson started off hot, and Caceres kept wearing him down. And in the second round, Caceres was coming, landing to the body, landing to the head, landing to the body, landing to the head. Combinations, not just one shot like Woodson. Woodson would like have I'm in the middle of the ring, I'll jab you. I'm in the middle of the ring, I'll kick your calf. But when the flurries came out, Caceres was timing him just right, and he would approach, and in the second round, Woodson was backing up. Caceres was getting him up against the fence, landing 3-4 punch combinations. So I actually thought Caceres, with the actual, not the volume, but the harder shots were landed by him. So it was a very close in volume, but the harder shots were landed. I actually thought Caceres should have won that decision. So, but that's just me. But I had money on Caceres. You know, I didn't put as much on, Woodson's tapping of the legs and, throwing out the jab as much as I thought. He saw him swinging hard towards the head, swinging hard in the body, and everything else. So, anyways, it didn't work out. So it's too bad. Plus 185 didn't work out. But let's move to the good news. Cortez Acosta. I was talking to people in the chat. I said, I can hardly wait to fade the Spain. And one thing I've learned is the moment you want to fade somebody, don't wait. Because it's usually too late by the next fight. The moment you think you should fade someone, just fade them. And that's how I felt about the Spain. I faded him against Parisian. Parisian just, he's not good at all. He was just the lowest level guy. And even when he had an opportunity to get on this Spain, he didn't even do that. Anyways, that was what it was. And I thought, okay, well, do I wait for a higher level grappler? I said, there's no way. Cortez can take a shot. He can give a shot. He's a very strong and durable guy. I said, I'm going to start now. And everyone's like, well, maybe we'll fade him later. I'm fading this guy right now, because now's the time to make your money. Because eventually when he's exposed, right, fraud checked, He's not going to be this big of a favorite. So plus 205, Acosta won all 3 rounds. Fraud check this guy. Terrible on the ground. I mean, Acosta's taking you to the ground and controlling you on the ground. So that tells you right there. So, anyways, that hit, good call. And here's the real. I think that was the second or third biggest underdog. I think who maybe Minifield was a bigger underdog. It was really close. Second or third biggest underdog. Got it right. Biggest underdog, Ferreira. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I just was not buying into the Rebeski thing. I think he's too short. He's got a lot of power. He's got good leg kicks. He throws big looping punches. But I'm questioning his cardio anyways. And when he gets to this upper echelon and the guys just don't succumb to the leg kicks and can take a shot and then eventually time you when you're throwing those big looping punches and defend against those big looping punches, I mean, and then outlast you. Like, Ferreira looked great. And that's what I saw at the last fight. Everyone's like, he's too old, he's too old. He's old, but he still looked really good. And I don't think, well, I didn't think Rebeski was nearly that good. And he wasn't. And Ferreira, I mean, he even caught Ferreira with a hard punch. And Ferreira survived it and got back up. So, I mean, it was a scary moment because you're like, okay, I hope he's okay. But he recovered pretty quickly. Dominated the fight. The ref wanted to stop the fight. I don't think he stopped the fight. The fight went to the end. Right? Pretty sure. Anyways. Did it go to the end? Or did he stop it in the last 10 seconds? I actually can't remember. I know he's wailing on him in the last little bit. And I think he stopped it in the last 10 seconds or something, or 15 seconds or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. They're just kind of going over it right now. And yeah, so let's assume that it's true, okay? So he stopped him right at the end of the round, of the third round. Either way, it would have gone to his decision. He would have won. But he dominated that fight. Rebeski was so bad. His eyes, couldn't even see out of his eyes. Both eyes were swollen at the end of the fight. It was amazing. Ferreira did great. Plus 360, biggest underdog of the card. It was a good feeling. It was a good card. Overall, if you tailed the picks, you made money. So yeah, hopefully you tailed some of the big underdogs. Granted, out of the 5 underdogs I picked, 3 hit, 2 didn't hit. Disappointing, but nevertheless, the 2 biggest ones hit. So yeah, otherwise it was a very entertaining card, and these I knew it was going to be an entertaining card. I was seeing the guys on paper, and they're like, these guys are all pretty good. I mean, granted, they're not the big brand names of some of the bigger guys, but these cards were well matched. Guys about the same level as each other, new up-and-comers, guys you're interested in seeing how they're going to do. That was a really good card. I really enjoyed the card. Besides the fact that I got a lot of them right, I just enjoyed the card in general. It was a lot of fun. So I'm not sure about the next card. I haven't really done very much on it. Something I got to do right now, right away. I'll try to get this next video out a little quicker. So I should be able to catch up on this one. I don't have as much to do this week, so I'll try to get the video out not on Friday, but probably on the Thursday, maybe Wednesday, probably Thursday. Otherwise, let me know how you did in the chat. We've been going back and forth with a few guys, talking about a few things in the chat. Please let me know how you did and if you had any bets out there and which ones hit. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining me. Hit the like button if you like the content. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified the next time I put out a video. Otherwise, we'll see you guys Wednesday or Thursday with the new video coming out for the next week's fight. Thank you.